Yeah, flirting with disaster. All right, there. Well, welcome back to the point of return. So we don't want you to get to the point of no return. We want you always to be at the point of return. And there's always a point of return. I don't know. I just threw a little flirting with disaster in it again because I was calling this series. It's been a three-parter, the path of destruction. So I thought it was just kind of fitting, flirting with disaster, because that's what we're doing. It seems to be the path, that a lot of people are taking. And there's a lot of resources out there. You don't have to, but if you feel like you're heading down that way, reach out. I'll put some more in the notes. Go back to the beginning of this series and listen. Go to the series before that I did with Sheriff Jerry Gooden, or Chris and I did with Sheriff Jerry Gooden. Don't want to leave him out. Chris is a big part of it. He brought me into this. He's my partner in crime here, if you want to call it that. So we're just going to jump in. We're going to do the third and final part in the Path of Destruction series with Roger Feltner, and we really appreciate his time and his story. And I know it's not always easy to get out there and tell that story, but if it can reach somebody, and because I've not been where they're at, but I've been around it. I've seen it. I've seen people take these paths, people close to me, people at a distance, at arm's reach. I've seen it everywhere, and it's amazing how quick you can go down that spiral. But let's go ahead and jump into the point of return with Roger Feltner, Path of Destruction, Part 3.
Yeah, I'm going 5 years in, and I had to go, and I'm still in the process. But I started off in options in Indianapolis for 48 hours. I got leveled out. I went to a halfway house in Indianapolis on 38th and Olney, and I didn't have a car or license at the time, so I had to take the bus to work. 2-hour trip there, 2-hour trip back, 8-hour shift. So I worked 12 hours for $10 an hour. On 21st and Franklin in a Speedway. In the ghetto. In a bulletproof box.
Indigo, baby.
Yeah.
I rode that for 3 years.
Yeah. But it taught me something. It taught me that sometimes just getting started, whatever that means, do it. Get started.
Humble yourself.
Humble yourself.
There's no easy way about it. You have to put in the work.
Yeah.
You have to.
There's no easy road.
You can't take the shortcuts. You gotta.
No, shortcuts lead to short results. That's what middle of the road solutions don't work.
Shortcuts lead us to nothing.
Yeah. Rarely have we seen someone fail who has thoroughly
Absolutely.
followed our path. That's the first line you hear in AA. You got to thoroughly follow the path that's laid before you. Whether you're following the Bible, whether you're following AA, whether you're following this. These are our forefathers who have set this. They've walked this already, and they've made mistakes, and they have a path that is like this is. If you walk it like this, you will succeed. If you veer off, and you don't get back on immediately,
You're gonna fail.
you will fail. And I'm here to attest to it. I got about 19 blue chips before I got my last one. Every time I veered off the path, I failed. And I'm still on a path today. I'm a 12-stepper. I still work my 10th step before I go to bed. I still work my 11th step when I wake up. And my 12th step is at any point in the day, if somebody needs prayer or encouragement or anything like that, I work it.
What is the 10th?
10th step. We continue to take personal inventory, and when we were wrong, we promptly admitted it. Rather than letting the inventory grow, we admit our wrongs and make our amends rather than letting it stack up.
Unless it would harm us or the other person.
Yeah. We take, the personal inventory is when I lay down in bed, I look at my day and I celebrate my wins and I analyze my losses, where I did well and where I didn't. And if I missed the amends, if it's not too late, I'll call or send a message. But if not, Immediately the next day I make that amends. So I don't carry that with me. It's baggage. You know what I mean? And if I tell somebody sorry and they don't accept it, I've covered my side of the street.
You set yourself free.
You know what I mean? I've made the amends. I've made the change in my life to show that the amends is true and not just words.
And then you have the spiritual awakening, willing to carry the message.
That's it.
What's the other thing? You
Step
said
11.
you was an atheist,
I was.
but now you're a devout Christian.
Carrying a message.
I came to the end of myself in that moment where I said I really don't know what I'm doing, and I went to enough meetings and seen that people who were like me, very much like me, and telling stories very similar to mine, were getting better. They were succeeding.
So you're like, why don't I give it a try?
And-
Why don't I see what it's all about?
Well, I asked my sponsor at the time, I said, because I was in the middle of step 2, I was very early. And we came to realize that a power greater than ourselves could restore us to sanity. Well, I needed a higher power, and I definitely knew it wasn't people. Some people, it's the group. I wasn't there. I wasn't in that. I knew that people in there were weak as water, and they needed something much bigger. And I asked my sponsor, I said, who's your higher power? And rather than telling me, he handed me the Bible. And of course, my hard-headedness, he's like, you asked me, and I'm showing you. He said, you can either accept it, or I'll take my Bible thing. Where do I start, Keith? It's his name. I said, where do I start, Keith? He put me in the book of John, and he said, that's where you start. And I read, and I called him that night, and I said, this isn't a book full of rules. He said, no. He said, this is a book about someone. He said, this is a book about my higher power.
That's what it was
Book of
described.
love. That's a book of love.
Well, you know what I mean? And he was speaking very elementary to me.
Right.
This was a
Well,
man,
you got to explain it to us like we're 6-year-olds.
he had 42 years at the time
Yeah.
of continued sobriety. And he was a Peastone gangster out of Chicago, heroin addict in the 70s. But he had come out of it. And I still talk to him. But the interesting part about it, I said, what do I do next? I didn't even know it, but I was getting excited. I had my honesty, open-mindedness, and willingness.
It intrigued you.
It caught me. And he said, well, pray. And he said, talk. Just like you would talk, and I did. And God showed himself to me because things started to happen that I couldn't make happen. And they just started to happen. And it was a very small belief, and it's grown into something today that is, it is the lead of my life. No matter what step I'm working, I ask for help.
Like the way my preacher where I go to, the way he told me about the Bible, because I was the same way. Like, I can't start from the beginning, start reading, and he says, no, it's not a book, it's not a novel.
Yeah.
It's a reference guide. Whatever you
It's an
need is in there.
instruction manual.
Yeah, you just look it up and you'll find what you need.
Absolutely. There's not a problem that you can't solve inside that Bible. It's a history of life.
I'm learning that too. that
It's a
you-
history.
You can go back and trace history to all of that.
It's a history of life. And not only just look at history, but it's a history of problems that people have faced. And you have, the book of Job is a book about good things happening to bad people. I mean, bad things happening to good people.
Curse your God and die. And he didn't. He asked questions. And God answered him.
That's it.
And then at the end, he gets double back.
Right. That's the thing. He showed himself to me. And the only time it ever failed was when I walked away.
Right.
Free will is our responsibility.
Right.
And if we free will choose to go back to our vomit like a dog, we'll get what
Looking for.
you'll reap what you sow. Today, I study daily. I pray daily. I now have full custody of my 3-year-old son. The mother isn't in the picture whatsoever. I have him 24/7. My mother helps me, but I'm a pillar. I'm a pillar for my home.
Well, you learn firsthand experience. They're like a sponge. You don't think that they're paying attention.
Oh,
If they're taking it all in.
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
He makes me a better man, and he shows me when I'm not being a good one.
Well, they always say if you want true honesty, ask a 3-year-old.
Okay, he'll tell you. I'm finishing my 2nd year of accounting school. 2 felonies on my record. One of them got dropped to a misdemeanor, but I work for Cummins. I have 5 years of clean time. I wasn't well read and well spoken like this when I got here. My mind worked this way, but I didn't know how to communicate it.
Is that because of
I learned,
or just
God taught me how to speak. My God taught me how to read. He taught me how to speak. He taught me how to write. He taught me how to be in tune with people. He taught me how to know when my disease, spirituality, spiritual sickness, sin problem, whatever you want to call it.
Discernment.
He gave me discernment, and when I needed to be on guard, he taught me how to love, and I didn't know how. I didn't know how to love. He taught me that love was an action word. And in the beginning, things were very simple. Read, pray, serve. Do those 3 things. Read, pray, and serve. Help those that you're within your means. And just be there for somebody. You don't have to get complicated. 5 years in, now I'm starting to learn about investing. I had no idea about investing. I didn't even know this echelon of life existed. I didn't know about investing. I didn't know about financial IQ. I didn't know about what it meant to be a male leader of a home. I didn't know that part of being a man was to suffer sometimes, was to take on the problems and the issues of life so other people didn't have to. But I would have never been ready for today had I not kept it simple in the beginning. And I always wanted more, and that was my problem. I wanted more.
so you gotta learn to crawl before
You
you
got to
walk.
learn to be very patient. If you pray for patience,
Patience is a good
He will teach you
Be
patience.
careful what you pray for.
Right. But this process is exactly that.
Which has got to be extra. I'm sorry, because we live in a society now where everything's right at your fingertips, instant gratification.
I
Like
don't
you
want.
said,
Yeah.
you had to learn.
I made a decision.
Patience.
I made a decision 3 years ago to not watch TV anymore. Not because I couldn't discern what I should and shouldn't watch. I had to break myself of instant gratification. I switched to a flip phone for a while. I don't watch TV now. I'm free from TV. I watch Kentucky basketball sometimes, but that's because I'm a hillbilly.
Absolutely.
But my program and my walk, I had to learn how to use my strengths, which are, I'm a man of action. I've always has been. I've always been that way, whether it was bad or good. So if something is tainting my life, I have to drive a stake through its heart. I can't just easily kind of push it. No, it's gotta, and that's how I view it. If a sin is bothering me, sin is a live thing. Addiction is alive.
Yeah.
It has a personality, and it's jealous. Just like my God's jealous, addiction is a jealous thing. You have to kill it. There's no other way around it. And you have to, the only way to kill it is to starve it. You have to starve it of everything that fuels it. Now that's high level. That's a little bit further along. That's probably middle ways. When you're working steps 6 and 7, which are character defect steps.
Yeah.
In the beginning, your character defects are obvious. But then you go into new levels of life, and you find out that the character defects that you had, they were okay. You find out, well, they're not good for this part of my life now.
Yeah.
So this isn't just a checklist you go through. I did that. I
Well,
did
it's a
that.
daily reprieve. That's daily.
This is daily, and when I lived by myself, certain character defects, I could be selfish. I could be, I needed to be selfish in the beginning. But I prayed to be a male leader of a home, not a dictator or anything else, but be a male leader. Well, 3 years into this, I became a male leader of a home. I couldn't be selfish anymore. I couldn't be lazy at any point. Couldn't choose to be lazy. I had to watch my health. I'm type 2 diabetic. Certain character defects that can wait to be dealt with. Anybody who gets in long-term recovery who doesn't deal with these character defects will be stopped. And I'm talking mind, body, and soul at that point. You have to educate yourself.
To manifest and be.
Yeah, you've got to learn how to diet better. And you don't need to do that in the beginning. Don't worry about that in the beginning. But later on, because you're going to get bored. You're going to get bored. I don't care what anybody says. You may not be addicted to something anymore, but the drive is there to be hungry for something else.
The hustle.
The hustle of it.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, I had a friend once told me that it wasn't so much about the drugs, it was about
the running.
the chase. He said just the adrenaline, the whole
The
thing.
hustle, yeah, the adrenaline high.
It took up every hour of my day. It took up every minute of my day.
When I used to shoplift, it was more the adrenaline of getting away with it and getting through that door with big screen TVs and computers and all that.
Want to see what else you could get away with.
Not just the high I was going to get, the gratification I was going to get at the end. It was what I was getting away with coming through that door.
I'll end by saying this, and I want to say this to anybody out there who is currently struggling. Your drug dealer that tells you that he loves you or that he's good to you don't care about you. He doesn't care about your girlfriend that you take with you. He doesn't care about your family. And it may be a she, but she don't care neither. And that world that is built on lies will fail you
And kill you.
and kill you. There's no love in that world. There's no honor among thieves, any of that. Please, if you about you at all, make a decision to stop, however that means. Your life depends on it. The lives of your loved ones is being affected by it. And if you are alive, you have a chance to stop it right now.
Reach out.
Reach out to somebody. Everybody knows somebody in recovery now. Reach out. And if you can't find a reason to reach out, tell somebody that cares about you about your problem. Just tell somebody. And bring it to the forefront of where you really are. And you may find that there will be something there to reach out and give you some help.
Absolutely.
I've got 4 years and 6 months right out. Yeah, August 30th of 2020 was the last time I used. I was an everydayer. I was committed to it, and I was committed to the life. I was committed to everything, and the streets paid me in misery, and that was it. And today I have a life where I'm concerned how I'm going to retire. I'm not concerned about how I'm going to get high. I'm concerned about how I bring glory to my God and not how I bring glory to my drug dealer so that they give me a better deal. Please do something.
Absolutely.
There you go. Sorry about that little glitch there. I was getting a message and I accidentally hit the wrong button there, and you saw me for just a second. So sorry about that. But yeah, so that's the end of the three-parter of Roger Feltner and Path of Destruction, and gives a good message there at the end, and hopefully this reaches somebody and gives them the courage to reach out or to try to get some help, or if you got your own story, tell, because all the stories we can hear, all the testimonies, is what they call them a lot. All these testimonies of people, well, like I said, whether you're a witness to something or whether you're been through it yourself or you're a family member that's that's got your own story. Just remember, don't get to that point of no return. Always get to the point of return.
You say I took